John Harris for smallballsuccess.com. I made a video the other day about place hitting, and I was talking about one of my favorite discoveries from the way guys used to hit in the Deadball era, and that is what I call a shuffle load, where the back foot actually moves before the front foot strides. You could almost in some cases call it sort of running the bat in the ball, and people instantly say, "Oh, you mean Ichiro?" Well, no, not really. It's more dynamic. It's not like you're running to get a head start to first base. It's actually storing more power. And I was frustrated because I didn't get enough time in that other video to really talk about the connection with the shuffle step to the kind of dynamic hand use that I was talking about. Really levering down on the ball with the spread grip from the inside close to the body to hit a line drive, or pushing the bottom hand out more for a line drive to the other field. All of that's great, but it requires that you shift your weight forward to get that level swing that the weight shift. Think of it this way: when you're hitting, of course, you have, many have talked about this, the axis of balance, and the color commentators on TV always like to get their marker out and show how this hitter has perfect balance. They draw a straight line right down his middle, and he's not moving, he's just spinning around that axis. And oh, that just gives him so much power. Well, it's wonderful if you're a figure skater. It's really nice to be able to do those pirouettes where your axis doesn't change, but I don't think that's such a good thing, especially if you're trying to do the kind of hitting that I'm promoting, where you want the barrel to carry forward as far as possible into the pitch, whether you're hitting it for a line drive and keeping the hands in, or whether you're going to try to poke one to push one in the opposite direction. By shifting the weight forward, you can carry that barrel on that slightly downward straight line into the pitch and as far as possible, and that's what's going to make the ball hop off the bat and give you a line drive. It's the shuffle step that promotes that better than anything I've ever found or can think of. The shuffle step moves that axis forward, and we need that. I really love that. Now, there's a relationship between that step, and it's not an ironclad relationship. Not all guys did that who worked their hands this way, but I think there's definitely a relationship there. This is really what I wanted to talk about in this video. If you start with your barrel low, or if you pump it down and then lift it up, you are already kind of creating an energy flow that doesn't stop. You don't come from down here to up here and then freeze in your ready position. A hitter today might do that, but here's the thing. Guys in the Deadball era, and I think even guys shortly after World War II were still doing this. They would work their hands so that they'd get some energy flowing in the barrel from down here up to here. And you can't see this, but my fingers are not closed right up here. They're not closing until I go into the ball. If I were going to come up here and then freeze into my load and wait for the pitch, of course my fingers would have to close and the bat's going to fall out of my hand. But right now, my fingers are almost open up here, and then I go into the pitch. So they have a flow of energy going, and the weight that's in the barrel creates that momentum and allows them to carry it into the pitch. I actually saw a newsreel where Jimmy Fox, XX, was explaining to the interviewer that he doesn't swing the bat as hard as he can, and he thinks some hitters make a mistake to do that. What he does, and I think Jimmy, and by the way, Negro League superstar Josh Gibson were very, very similar hitters from all that I can tell, looking at photos and newsreels. I think Josh Gibson did the same thing. But Jimmy clearly was talking about just letting the weight of the barrel carry into the ball. And boy, he hit plenty of 500-foot home runs. And I think from what little information we have, it seems that Josh Gibson probably hit even more. But those guys would do this thing that I'm talking about. They'd capture the energy in the barrel, create some momentum. Their fingers are loose when it's up here. See, they're already swinging. This isn't going into the load and then they stand still. You have to time the pitcher pretty well to do this, of course, but they're coming up here and starting into the pitch, and the barrel is moving the whole time. It's moving the whole time. There's kind of a parabola going here that's being traced by the end of the barrel. And again, Jimmy's right. You don't have to throw everything you have into that swing. You let your hands, your smart hands, do the work of manipulating the weight that's in that barrel. Now, I had a hard time actually figuring this out. Here's my second edition of Landing Safeties. This is in here, and I'm pretty sure it's in some of my other works too. I know some of you guys want me to be more high-tech and put up photos that are from the internet, but I'm not very high-tech, so just let me show you these. This is Cy Williams and another hitter. Who is this down here? Art Devlin. I don't know much about him, but I'll bet what he's doing here is pretty typical. I know it's pretty typical. I've seen it in a lot of guys. They're doing precisely what I just showed you. They're getting the barrel to work from down low to the ground, and then they're lifting that up and capturing the momentum that they've created as they go into their swing. So what does this have to do with the shuffle step? This was revolutionary for me. When I first started thinking about the shuffle step, I wondered how you could do that and keep your eyes level and not create a problem with wobble as you're trying to find the ball. It's going to be bouncing all around. Well, no, it doesn't if you can use the lifting barrel to, again, you're kind of riding the momentum. If you create a loop where this energy is going back in the barrel and your back foot is sliding forward at the same time. I think you can see that my St. Louis Browns cap is hardly moving at all. I'm staying very level here. And I'm not ever going to squeeze that handle until I'm going down into the ball. So the barrel's actually never frozen. It's never still when I go back here. I don't know how many guys used that in combination with the shuffle step, the dynamic barrel. I mentioned the other day something about Joe Cronin. It looked to me like Joe was almost doing it. He was choked up, and he would be like Jimmy Fox. You know, this is actually, he's not just waiting on the pitch and then he's loading back here. This is part of his swing. He's swinging when he comes up, and I'm trying to remember just exactly how it's not a shuffle step so much as it is a kind of Nolan Arenado thing where he just, the foot goes back where it was, but it resettles, and it gives itself, it's ready, even by just that little bitty lift and then going down again, it's ready to give a really good push into the pitch. That's the last thing that I wanted to mention too, about how getting the rear foot moving before you go into the pitch, it not only helps you drive into the pitch and move that axis of balance forward, but it gives you power. You know, I might have been Brent Strom, or I'm sure it was more than one pitching coach that I've heard talk about the advisability of taking a little hop on the rubber, an almost indetectable little hop before you deliver. If you could take the least little bounce on your rear leg before you drive home, that's almost like a cricket hurler taking his run into the pitch. And of course, in baseball, I think up into the late 1880s, pitchers in baseball were actually allowed to run in the pitcher box before they released the ball. And of course, the creation of the rubber put an end to that. But when you take the little hop on your rear leg on the rubber before you deliver, you're putting more energy into the pitch. And that's exactly what's happening if you can do that shuffle load. And using the barrel, capturing the momentum of the barrel will help you get that smooth hop step onto the rear foot. So look, this stuff, it all holds together. It really makes sense. I wish you'd give it a try. And go Browns.